Hey Dan, how are you?
I'm good. Hello, everybody. All right, let's talk a little bit. So my name is Doug Tiffin. I work for Amazon Web Services. I'm actually going to stand out here so I could glance up and down at my slides. I head up worldwide business development for apparel and fashion. And what we're doing, and we got Manu with us, who we're going to talk a lot about some digital trends that we're seeing, as well as a little bit about live streaming and some exciting things going on there. So let's talk about what's been happening. Okay, we went through this pandemic, and retail had been on a pretty steady pace, right? The digital adoption was rising at a pretty predictable rate. So retailers were doing better and better at digital, and then everybody stayed home. Digital adoption went from like this to rocketing straight up. And suddenly consumers were at home with nothing to do but look around, discover, and shop. And so what that meant was their behavior started changing. People had to be a lot more comfortable using digital and making transactions. So what was interesting about the pandemic is once stores started opening up again, the level came down, but it didn't go back to where it was pre-pandemic. So in other words, digital adoption stayed at higher levels than before. So that means retailers needed to continue to innovate and work around the new expectations of the consumer. And as many of you have experienced, there was a lot of new innovations in the space, from new ways to deliver, new ways to experience the stores. So retailers continually had to pump money in to figure out, like, what are we going to do next? Like, what's our next big innovation to attract and retain our customers? But what's interesting is, it's not all about the digital experience on mobile or on your tablets. Physical stores return to importance again. Now that we're opening up around the world, you got to remember that 70–80% of retail business comes through physical stores. So it's important to bring the digital element and bring the stores together. So the challenge to retail now is that digital is now the new flagship store. It's your A-plus store that you've got to have everything in, have all the availability that you know, from brands and products that you want. And so what retailers are challenged to do is, how do we make that digital experience more like the in-store experience? How do we bring that to the consumer if they're on digital? So there's several ways to do that. There's product visualization, for example. What does this look like on me or in my home? There's the virtual store experience, right? So let me walk through and explore your store from the comfort of my own house. And of course, live streaming, which we're going to get into in just a minute. So here's some interesting things. To enable that, AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, are definitely picking up as far as usage goes. Now, you can see that AR is definitely on a higher trend than VR is, and that makes sense, right? We think about it because AR you can use with your phone, it's very accessible. And VR will catch up. I think at the latest electronics shows, we're starting to see much smaller devices that let you get into VR. So trust me, the trajectory is there. So we're very optimistic about the leveraging those technologies. In fact, one of the statistics I have up on the screen, by the end of next year, a third of us will have been using augmented reality monthly for different things, purchasing as well as exploring online. So what does that mean? So just some examples of how you can use augmented reality. So here's an example from Amazon Home, where you can say, I want to see how this chair looks in my house. The other thing, and the whole point is, again, I can't be there to touch it and feel it. You can at least show it to me and how it looks in my space that I'm planning for. And then the other piece is, well, gee, I want to know more about the product itself. I want to look at it 360. And it's another example there of how you can enable that. Again, trying to give the customer a level of comfort to make that purchase before, and also eliminate returns. Another step that many retailers are taking is the digital store. So there's a couple ways you could do that. There's a company called Obsess that is a partner of ours that will go in and literally shoot pictures of your store, and you can walk through it. And it's very cool, and it drives engagement, right? The longer that you can keep that customer engaged, the more likely they are to put things in the cart and make a purchase. So And the other approach to a digital store is to do literally everything digitally. So it's a lot of work on the back end, but it allows you to be a lot more nimble in changing your assortment to the customer, because the first process I'm showing you actually takes a lot of time to do. So, but this all will start to speed up. Technology is getting faster and faster, and these options are growing. Again, the idea though is bring the remote digital customer into your store and give them that store experience that they're craving. A lot of that uses 3D assets, right? So one thing that is often overlooked when retailers think about going with 3D assets for their websites is the fact that you can actually leverage those digital images even really early on in product development. So I have an apparel background, and the idea of creating 3D imagery to do your product design speeds up the development process like many, many times over, so that you can get to market faster. And then, oh, by the way, as you developed it, you already have your 3D image that then you can put into your digital platforms so customers can experiment with it. So there's just lots of potential when you start digging into what you can do with 3D in that kind of technology. But here's the stuff that really gets me excited, okay? So it's common knowledge that China is one of the leading digital innovators when it comes to retail, right? And they were on to live streaming long, before the rest of the world. In fact, probably originated in China. And this first statistic just blows my mind. So this is conversion rates, right? So when somebody engages, this is the percentage of times, it's from China, all right? So this is Chinese statistics of when they would buy. So that top one is live streaming. 65% of the time, if somebody's engaged with you on live streaming in China, they end up making a purchase. So I'm an old retailer. I was excited when I got 3% conversion rate on an ad campaign, and now we're looking at ways to really engage a customer and get much higher conversion rates. The next closest one is influencer type marketing, which you guys have seen before. The other statistic, oh, I'm sorry, it looks like it's a little jammed up, but the gist of it is it's the propensity to buy, the desire to buy. That they were measuring how compelled do you feel when you look at live streaming to make a purchase. And the first box is highly compelled, and the second box is very compelled. So put the two together, you get 78% of the people feel like they really, really want to buy. So it's truly an engaging platform that consumers and retailers are really gravitating to. So how do you do it? So what's good is the heavy lifting is taken care of for you by our platform, AWS. We have a product called Interactive Video Streaming Service, and it brings to you all the regular elements in the background that you would expect. So the commercial elements, like you want to be able to make a purchase, the social elements, real-time feeds for Q&A, as well as the most important thing to the retailer, the data behind it, the analytics of what are people looking at, how are they moving through. And we take this to market in our live streaming service. So you can actually see this today on Amazon.com, and you can see all the elements that I was mentioning are brought in. And just background for those that are curious, this is technology that we brought in when Twitch joined the Amazon family. And what's really compelling about this platform is that you control your brand image. We do the heavy lifting, right? And for those that haven't gotten into live streaming yet, one of the big critical elements that you've got to face is latency. You really need high speed so that when your influencer is making a pitch, that there's no delay, and that the consumers that are watching are able to respond in real time. And that takes a lot of power, computing power, and to make sure that we can deliver and make sure that you achieve that. And so the best thing to do is leave that heavy lifting to a service like AWS. But you see all the different elements, purchasing, as well as you can't really see the stars on the side, so customer sentiment data, and all those things are captured in the platform. So what do you get out of it? Some big ideas. Well, you get personalization. You're learning about what the consumer, like they're engaging with, they're giving you live feedback, and you're learning about what they want, and that's all data that you get to keep and then use to market to them more effectively past the live stream event. Obviously, it's a monetization opportunity. You get to cash in because oftentimes they engage and make the purchase online. And if they don't do it live, they also have the capability to look at the presentation later and engage. And you can also send them promotions based on what their history was. If they didn't happen to buy, well, that's okay. You can market to them very effectively with what they were looking at. You've got great reach because, by the way, the younger generations are loving this. They're very, it's a social world now, and this is a way to bring that one-to-one interaction with the customer and somebody who knows about the product back into a digital experience since they're not in a store at the time. So it brings that social element back into it. Interactivity. There's very few platforms that allow a marketer to have one-to-one feedback coming live, like 2 ways. Most of it's one way. You're pushing out advertising, right? And it's hard to measure as people come back and make purchases. This gives you that opportunity. And the beauty of AWS is like if you go from 100 viewers to 100,000 in a hot minute, that's okay. That's another reason you want to use a platform that's built for scalability and with Amazon. And the last piece I would point out, it really helps you attach to your community because you get that live feedback on what customers like and what they don't like. And that helps you make better offers and better presentations down the road. So with that, I'm going to turn to Manu, who's going to talk a little bit about what's going on at VTEX and some of the exciting offerings they have.
Okay, well, thank you, Dan. Super amazing, your presentation. It's super nice to see data, right? I don't know if any in the audience works in product. I have a product mindset, so this is kind of work for you guys and also for marketing and e-commerce managers. So why I am here? Because we try our product and then we partner with the IVS component from Amazon. So this is my first advice for you all. If you're building, use robust providers, right? When we use the IVS component, we scale up our app. Now we have presence in 13 countries with more than 150 active accounts, right? And with those active accounts, we learn a lot. We gather all the data to create this presentation to share with you, okay? So this is like 5 tips on how to set up a success live event, okay? Based on the data we gather all around. So first of all, I don't know if is in the audience anyone from marketing, but every time we demo and we sell our platform, I can see the faces of the marketing managers and I are kind of worried, right? And they're like thinking, hey, I have my influencer, I have all set up. What happens if nobody comes to this live event, right? So what's gonna be my ROI, right? So here's the answer for that. Live shopping is so new in the Western world that we need to start with the what, right? And we need to tell our audiences, our viewers, what is live shopping about. And some basic questions about our viewers is like, you remember the screen Dan showed you? It's like, hey, everyone's watching me, I'm at home. So we need to explain from the basic, right? And then you go with the how it works, and then you go with the why. Why is your brand using live stream commerce? You've seen Dan showing a lot of issues about strengthening community, content for your future customers. And let me give you a data here. So my millennials and centennials are using 4.5 hours a day, all social networks based on video. Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Live, right? So if you have to think where is your customer of the future spending their time digital, you have to create a video format space, okay? This is some data too, and I go forward with the thing of the influencers, right? But if you are creating like a marketing plan for your live event, you can expect these kind of numbers, okay? So what is 60% when you are as a brand ambassador? You use your email base, you use your social network, you use your landing page, yeah? Basic strategies such as a banner telling when is going to be your live shopping are super successful. 20% you can expect from an influencer. I don't know, here in Brazil, But if you gather like LATAM data, you can expect from a top influencer, this is a million followers, you can expect like 10 cents of a dollar for every click. So if you are doing all the budget, you can take that number as granted. And then the other 20% is on media, right? So I brought a couple of cases, and I really love this one. This is a girl from Colombia. You all guys know Max Factor. But the thing is that she added like the occasion of use, right? On this event was all about how you make up for your next Zoom meeting, okay? So this girl was talking about the light of the screen, for example, okay? And those kind of tips that you cannot get seeing a catalog, for example, okay? And she sold everything in almost 15 minutes, okay? So this is an amazing case. I really love one. So strategy number 2, and this is the main difference about live streaming and live shopping, right? A lot of brands, when I talk to them, they say, hey, we've been working on live shopping, and I ask them, hey, okay, what do you do? And they say, well, I start my YouTube channel, and from there, I try to migrate my audience to my website. Okay, well, I'll say that's not live shopping, that's live streaming. And here's the main difference, okay? If you try to migrate audiences from Facebook, from YouTube, you can expect 10% of the people that are watching on YouTube visiting your website, okay? If you use TikTok or Instagram, you can only expect 6%, right? So if you have 100 people watching your Instagram live, you will get 6 people at your landing page, but you will spend all your money in that event. So the return of that investment, it will be so low, okay? That's why you need, you have to use social network, right? But you need to do these kind of experiences, the one that Dan showed you recently, right? And this is embedded website live shopping experiences. And then you have 2 reasons to do this. First of all, you will intercept organic traffic. Back again, if any one of you works on digital marketing, you are investing every day on generating this organic traffic. So if you give this content to them, I don't know if you could give like 65% like China, but for sure you will increase your revenue and your conversion rate. And the second reason behind this is time session. Time session is a super KPI for you guys who work in e-commerce. And this is because it works the same as the physical store. If people spend more time in our website, we will have like more probabilities of making a sale, okay? So this is a super case. I don't know, guys, if you know Mies. Mies is the biggest sex shop here from Brazil. This team couldn't use Instagram Live because of the content, and they started to work with our tool. And you can see like those, not 65, but 17 is quite good, right? So yeah, this is a super cool case too. So strategy number 3. How do we know if our live event is a successful one, right? Maybe as a criteria, we will say like, I don't know, the one who gets the more viewers, right? Or the one who sold the most, right? But it depends on your product, okay? And for example, the thing of the viewers, right? I work with exclusive companies. They don't want 1,000 viewers on their website. They just want like those 50 VIP clients that can spend $1,000 on a whiskey bottle, okay? So if you segment it right, it doesn't matter the amount of viewers, but the quality, right? Another metrics is time session, performance metrics such as average order value, the basket size, right? And then you will have to compare your average ticket with an average day without doing live shopping, okay? So this is kind of the metrics. And if you go and repeat and iterate and you learn how to use it, you will improve in every one of it. Okay, this is a brand from Chile. It's called Bisol. You can see it's a workout for girls. And in 40 minutes, these guys increased their basket size for 200 and 2x as well using our tool. Okay. So strategy number 4, and this is the one I love, super basic, and it has to do with this graphic. I'm going to go all over. We try to decide if it was good or not to use an influencer, right? And we've seen a lot of live events that weren't using it, and they sold a lot. So we dig into it, and we figured out this kind of exercise that you have to do with your brand, okay? So if your decision-making process it's more inspirational, I mean, if a celebrity giving recommendations creates that inspiration for your buyers, you're going to be on this side of the chart, right? Maybe you can point that from 1 to 5, and you can work with your team this kind of exercise, right? But for example, if you're selling electronics, cooking devices, tools, I don't know if the right strategy is to use an influencer. Maybe you should use a brand ambassador, a salesperson, a people who really knows your product and really can show the audience which are the main values and the value proposition of your products, right? So you only have to point from 1 to 5 your process decision making, and this is in which side of this graphic you will be. That give you the tip on whether or not to use an influencer, right? Okay, I hope you guys all know Honeybee. Honeybee is one of our early adopters here in Brazil. They do super cool events. Sometimes they use influencer. CEO of Honeybee is one of them, but they usually use salesperson, right? That can show products, show details, give some recommendations, and with that they're getting like super big numbers as well. Okay. Okay, and the last one, the fifth strategy, yeah, I say let's bet on social, right? Live commerce cannot live without a social, not social network, but social interaction, okay? So Dan was saying that you have a chat over there. I don't know how many of you 2 or 3 years ago hire a bot or install WhatsApp in your website. People want straight answers, quick answers. They don't want to talk with a bot. They don't want to wait 5 minutes in order to get their answer, okay? So live shopping is a window for your brand to connect with people in real time, to hear your people in real time, and to answer their questions in real time, okay? And yeah, last tip, if you're going to use live shopping, and I will invite every one of you to use it, just you don't have to be different in this channel, okay? Your viewers, your community know your values. Just show the same thing that they know, and you will do all right. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Dan.
Thank you.
I hope you guys see you all around, okay? Thank you. Oh, sorry. I will give this. ¿Y la música?